I found love, for real love.
Cheers everyone, we have reached a major milestone on this channel, which is 4,000 subscribers, and I'm always a fan of celebrating along the way, and therefore I wanted to take this as an opportunity to just thank all of you. I want to thank all of you who subscribed, who keep on watching, and I especially want to thank everyone who leaves comments regularly on my videos. You know who you are. Thank you so much for showing up. I always learn so much from you. Also, I just want to let you know that this is one of my favorite kombuchas, the Brew Dr. Kombucha Love flavor. I'm not sponsored at all, I just love this product. Let me know in a comment down below if you love kombucha like me or you are a kombucha girl. If you're new here, welcome to Miss Matti. My name is Matilda, and in today's video we are gonna have a Q&A with questions submitted by my viewers. And most of the questions that I got are around sewing, so if you're interested in that, then keep on watching. And if you were like, I did not know there was a Q&A, make sure that you follow me on Instagram, because that's where I do let you know if there is any future Q&As, and I also share a bit behind the scenes. So if you're interested in that, then go to Miss Matti on Instagram. I would love to connect with you even more. So let's get into the questions. The first question is from Trina, and she asks, how long have you been making clothes and where do you sell them? And I'm gonna combine that with this other question from MH Leclerc Free. How did you get started in sewing? So I got started in sewing around 27 years ago, and it was in school in home economics textile class. I do not fully know if it was 26 or 27 years ago, because we had every other semester for a couple of years woodworking, and then we had textile class, and I cannot fully remember which semester I had which, but it is around that time I've been sewing, and at the time I really liked it, but I didn't sew much outside of class. I think that started around 13 years old, when I got a little bit more serious about my fashion design career plans. That's basically how I got started. There is so much more to this journey that I've been on the past 25 plus years, and of course I can share more about that if you're interested, but I think that will have to be another time. And then to also answer Trina's question of where do I sell my clothes, at the moment I do not sell my clothes anywhere. I used to make and sell knitted accessories around 7-8 years ago or something like that, but I do not do that anymore. I always had the dream of having my own fashion label, but at the moment I feel like unless I have an idea that really feels like something different, something that will fill a gap in the market, I will not start a fashion brand, and therefore I started to focus way more on what I'm doing here. In the future, I hope to launch my own knitting patterns and sewing patterns. I know I've talked about this for a long time, and I'm gonna make sure that it happens, but I'm very happy that I've taken the time I've taken, because sometimes some products and ideas, they need to grow and they're not ready to be launched out in the world. So I'm slowly formulating how the knit patterns and sewing patterns will look like. So hopefully I will get time this year to really dive into this project. My dear friend Christina asks, what has been your favorite thing you ever made? Let me take a sip while I'm thinking about this. I do think there are a couple of items that are my favorites. I love how the Lando pants in corduroy turned out, as well as the Tatjana trousers and my 1940s trousers. What I especially love with them that I took the time to make sure that the trousers fit me properly, as well as finishing them with beautiful detailing. And also 2 knitted hats that I sadly no longer own, and I've been meaning to remake them. So they were part of my collection that I used to sell when I made knitted accessories, and I machine knitted them on my knitting machine. And they are basically these block colored beanies in 2 different color schemes. One is purple, navy, red, and a coral, and the other one is navy, a little bit more denim blue, and this beautiful green teal petroleum color. Sadly, I lost both of these. One I think was either taken intentionally or accidentally. The other one I have no clue what happened to it. And if you are a knitter and you lost your knitted pieces, you know how devastating it is. So ever since I lost them, I've been meaning to remake them. And luckily I still have the yarns that I made these hats from, but I just haven't got around to do it. Let me know in a comment down below if I would make them again, if you want me to turn it into a video tutorial. Shanice asks, what would you recommend for beginners to learn how to use a sewing machine? So it's been a while since I started to use a sewing machine, and the only thing I can remember from when we were supposed to familiarize ourselves with the sewing machines was my textiles teacher's horror story about previous pupils of hers who sewed themselves in the finger and how we should not be that careless. There's a couple of ways you can go. For example, you can use YouTube videos. There's a lot of good YouTube videos out there for beginners and how they can familiarize themselves with a sewing machine. I personally do not have a video like that yet, and I will link some videos like that down below in the description box, so you can go and check those videos out if that's the route you want to take. Alternatively, you can sit down with a friend that is a bit more experienced with sewing, and they can guide you what to do on the sewing machine. And then I would highly recommend you to just play around on some scrap pieces of fabric, make some stitches in different stitch lengths and tensions, different type of stitches, and just like familiarize yourself with the sewing machine and get used to using it. Another option is of course to do a course. You can do it either in person or online. It's totally up to you. So that's a couple of different routes that you can take to familiarize yourself with your sewing machine and become more confident as a beginner. Madeline asks, I am curious about upcycling, but I am intimidated trying to decide where to start. What garments do you think are the easiest for trying upcycling? So this is a great question, Madeline. I do not know if you checked out my upcycling tips and tricks video. I go through a lot of suggestions in that video, but I think there's a couple of other things I can say. Try on the pieces that you want to upcycle or put on a dress form. Just play around and see how it looks. And another thing you can do if you find specifically cutting in your garment a bit intimidating is to do some samples first in another piece of fabric, try out different techniques that you maybe are not that familiar with, and experiment. You maybe even try to make a mock-up in some material you don't really care about. Crazy. In terms of garments that are best to start upcycling with, it totally depends, but I often recommend men's shirts, jeans, t-shirts. But also remember, your first upcycle doesn't need to be very complicated. It can just be like dyeing the piece and changing the length of the garment. And it can also be something super simple, like cutting jeans and make them fray at the hem. But check out my upcycle tips and tricks video if you haven't already. I also have a video coming up very soon on how to shop fabrics for upcycling in the thrift store, and I also think that video will be really helpful for you. And I'm also planning this year to make some more beginner-friendly upcycles once I'm done with a sort of 4 or 5 current projects slash videos that I'm working on. Let me know in a comment down below if you have any other questions for me, and also if you have any future video requests. I'm really looking forward to hear from you, and until next time, bye!